Welcome to this lesson on the English added value unit. What is the added value unit? It's a unit at National 4 English. It allows you to show your skill with understanding and analysing language. It's useful because you can also combine this unit with the National 4 Talking unit or the Writing unit. The aim of this PowerPoint lesson is to take you through the process of gathering the information you will need to complete the AVU unit. For this unit, you will need to select two texts. This can be text of your own choosing. However, sample texts have been provided in a separate lesson called AVU Plastic Pollution. If you wish to use text on plastic pollution, access this lesson and then select the two texts you will be looking at. Once you have your two texts, we'll be looking at several areas in this lesson. The purpose of the text, why it was written, the audience for the text, who it's been written for, the main points that are covered in the text, and also the techniques the writer has used to gain your attention. You will need to work with the AVU Booklet document, which is in Word format and provided along with these lessons as you go through this presentation. And you can stop and start the lesson whenever you need to fill something in. When your booklet is complete, you can either present your findings to your teacher as a talk presentation or present your findings in writing.
The first page should be very straightforward. Fill in your name and your English teacher. On the second half of the front page of your reading log, you should fill in the topic that you will be looking at. And secondly, you should fill in the two texts that you're going to be looking at. For example, if you're looking at a newspaper article, you would write down the headline or title of the article along with the title of the newspaper that it has come from. If you want to be really thorough, you could even copy and paste the link into the booklet. This slide will help you to complete pages 2 and 3 of your AVU reading log. Firstly, fill in the title of your first text. Then, in 2 or 3 sentences or bullet points, give an overview of what the text is about. Next, identify the purpose of the text. Is it to present information, to entertain, to persuade the audience to agree with a particular point of view? Remember that it is quite likely that your text may have more than one purpose. Lastly, you should identify the audience. To do this, consider 2 areas. Think about, firstly, the content. If your article is about football, it's highly likely the intended audience are people who are interested in football, most obviously, but also people who are interested in sport in general. If the article is written in quite sophisticated language, with maybe subject-specific vocabulary in it, then it's quite likely that it is appealing to an older audience. However, if it contains more simple, straightforward language, it's quite likely it's maybe trying to appeal to young people or even maybe children. Once you have completed that for text 1, go through the same process for your second text. This slide will help you to complete pages 4 and 5 of your reading log. To do this, you will need to identify the key points in each of your texts. Starting with text 1, highlight the topic sentences that you should find at the start of each paragraph. This should give you an indication of what the main point of each of these paragraphs is. Once you have done that, you should be able to put these sentences into your own words and then make a note of them. Once you have done that for text 1, do exactly the same for text 2, remembering once again to use your own words. This slide will help you to complete pages 6 and 7 of your AVU reading log. Part of the AVU means you have to identify and give evidence of the features and techniques used within each of the texts. Some of the features you might be able to spot in your article are the use of headlines, normally found right at the start of the article in much larger and bolder text. You also might be able to find a subheadline, which you will find immediately underneath the original headline. You also may find photographs that are related to the content in some way. You might also find research and statistics that provide evidence for the points that are being made in the article. You might find some of this research in the form of interviews with people who are experts in a particular field that is being discussed in your article. And you might also find the techniques that we find in all sorts of different types of writing. For example, you might find the use of imagery like metaphors and similes, or you might find examples of effective word choice, or you might find certain examples of sentence structure. For example, you might be able to identify rhetorical questions, or you might be able to identify repetition, or you might be able to spot the use of short sentences contrasting with longer sentences. Any of these features would be absolutely fine to identify. This slide will help you to complete page 7 of your reading log. Using the list of features we have already discussed, give 4 examples of features found in text 1. Quote an example and explain why it is effective. When you're recording this information, you should use the model on the screen to help you. So first of all, identify the feature. For example, is it an interview? Or is it a headline? Or is it a subheadline? Or is it an example of sentence structure? Then quote your example. And lastly, state why you think it is effective. For example, did it help to clarify the writer's point of view? Did it help to convey the emotion of the writer? Or did it make the point more persuasive? There are obviously many reasons as to why the particular technique you have selected may well be effective, but those are a few examples of what it could be. Once you have completed that for text 1, go through the same process for text 2. This slide will help you to complete page 9 of your AVU reading log. In this page, you should make notes on whether you preferred text 1 or text 2. Next, you should identify the reasons as to why you preferred either text 1 or text 2. For example, did the text you prefer cover a wider range of points? Did it make more effective use of features and techniques? And if so, give examples of those. Or was it more convincing? And if it was, can you explain why? For example, you might find that it had made more use of statistics, it had more up-to-date statistics, it had consulted a wider range of experts. Anything like that would be absolutely fine. Once you have completed that for the final section, you should now be able to go on to write your AVU. Now, when it comes to writing your AVU, you're basically just translating the material you now have in your reading log into complete sentences. And at the end of your reading log, you will find a very clear plan on where you can find the content for each of the paragraphs in your AVU. Thank you.